Charleston this weekend, trying to get a little scouting report going on before the Charleston Challenge Cup, and I was kind of surprised. I went out to the bars, didn't see a single Atlanta United player.
Shocking.
I thought they were going to be there ready for the Cup. I don't care that Nashville's this weekend. I just thought that Charleston was the place to be.
Joe,
Not to mention I was there for a bachelor party.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's shocking. That's really shocking. I'm surprised that you didn't see any Atlanta United players when they're in Florida.
Well, I was also trying to scout out and see if I could see some Charleston players, but considering we took about half of their team with our prospects, the only one I may have been able to recognize was Forrest Lasso, who I really hoped that we were going to pick up in the offseason. There's still time, but haven't picked him up yet.
Yeah, I never heard of him. But I'm glad you had a good time. So, did you guys? What'd you guys do in Charleston? Did you guys hit some clubs?
I was there. My best friend's bachelor party. Had to get down there. I was a little sick earlier this week and forced myself through it, and got there for a bachelor party. Hit up the bars, hit up some of their special clubs, and went out and saw the field where the Charleston Battery play.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah,
that's right next to Blackbaud Stadium, I believe. It's a software company, right there.
That's right.
It's kind of on the intercoastal of Charleston. It's a cool little spot. You know, who was the player that we loaned out to Charleston last year? The striker,
Romario Williams.
That's right,
also known as Super Romario.
I heard he took the number 9 jersey this year. Should be an interesting thing to watch.
He's going to be very interesting. He's taking over Kenwin Jones' spot. And I have extremely high hopes for Super Romario. He led Charleston in goals last year. I believe he scored 18 across all competitions.
Super Romario, is that copyrighted? Is that a thing?
That's his name, Super Romario.
Super Romario.
Yeah, use it. Be proud.
Okay.
Love it.
He's gonna
come in. He'll be our true number 9. Like so far, they don't have that backup spot,
but he's not going to get a spot in the starting 11. Let's be honest. I mean,
no,
we'll get to it later.
Yeah.
But
yeah, let's get to it.
He'll be a good Cup player.
Oh, did you do anything fun this weekend? Did you go anywhere?
Fun this weekend. Well, I was stuck here. I wasn't in Charleston. And not that I was stuck here, because Atlanta's a beautiful city. It was a great time. I went to this place, kind of spur of the moment, called the Painted Duck. I didn't really expect much. It was a duck pin bowling alley. Have you ever heard of duck pin bowling before, Jim?
No, I've heard of the Painted Pin, and I've heard of duck.
Okay. So
is it kind of like a marriage of those two?
If you combined all of your knowledge about both, it would not be anything close to where I went this weekend.
Oh.
But I will tell you this. They had Monday Night Drafty Kilt flowing from the tap. I had 4 or 5. At that point, I was the best duck pin bowler you've ever seen.
A Guinness on steroids.
The best part about duck pin bowling is that if you hit gutter on the first 2 shots, you still have a 3rd shot. There's 3 shots in duck pin bowling. The ball's a lot smaller. The pins are actually smaller. But, you can throw 2 gutter balls and still get a shot. Traditional cosmic bowling.
Sounds like it's playing to the people that like to
drink some alcohol. You got to picture a PBR, and you throw 2 gutter balls and you got to go sit down and talk a bunch of random stuff with someone's girlfriend while their boyfriend bowls, and it's just bowling's an awkward experience anyways. And then everyone has this like swag strut, you know what I'm talking about, when they're walking back after they nail a good like, oh, I got a spare, and they cruise on back like, wow, I'm something, always annoyed me. Duck pin bowling eliminates that. 3 shots. Painted Duck. It was actually a great experience. I would recommend that people check it out. I would not recommend that people get the chicken club sandwich.
Ooh, chicken club.
Yeah,
don't do that at Painted Duck.
Man, it was cold. I don't like getting served cold food. I'm just not a cold food fan. Everything else about the experience was fantastic, and I'm not trying to hate on the Painted Duck as a restaurant guy myself.
Let's not hate on the Painted Duck, because Painted Duck is our spot of the week.
Spot of the week. Check it out. We're gonna have a theme song for
We've got a great show for you guys today. This is ATLiens United. We're coming straight from the underground of Southeast Marietta, from Britt's home, our producer.
Shout out to Britt.
Shout out to Britt.
And Ben.
And Ben.
And Boots.
And Boots. Always Boots. All right. Well, every show I want to start out with the beer of the week. And if I can get my Golden Spike.
Golden Spike of Atlanta.
This wonderful Spike beer bottle opener was presented to me from the ATL fan club founding member.
That was a lot of words.
Everyone gets a Golden Spike.
Hey, guys. Joe has a Golden Spike, and he's going to open a beer.
Simply put.
What do we have this week, Joe?
Beer of the week. We're gonna go to Orpheus Brewing. Transmigration of the Souls.
So just repeat, that's Orpheus Brewing, hanging out on the Beltline, right there next to Piedmont Park. Great little brewery. Maybe more known for their sours than their IPAs, but Joe's an IPA guy, so he's about to. I'm
gonna go ahead and try to open this with the Golden Spike. Never opened a can with my Spike, but
we're all intrigued here.
Set.
How'd it go?
It worked out perfectly.
Yeah. So there you have it.
The beer of the week, Transmigration of the Souls.
And Joe and I were gonna indulge on this beer while we continue to record this podcast. If you guys have any questions about the flavor profile of the beer, be sure to email us. You know, we have some contact info on our website, ATLiensUnited.com. We'd love to take your questions about the beer and all things Atlanta United. Just a quick shout out to our website.
We'll also talk about a little bit of the schedule coming up. Blake, what do you think about our Atlanta United schedule? Opening game against Houston, second against DC United, and we got a couple of our big games coming into the show.
Man, I'm so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I am. I think what we got to focus on right now is a little bit of preseason action. We're going to be rotating some formations, some lineups around. But rolling into those first 2 weeks, it's going to be a lot of excitement. Everyone's kind of skipping over Houston and jumping straight to DC. DC just got a little bit more interesting with their acquisition of Yamil Assad. We'll get to that later.
No.
We'll get to that later. But Houston is a good team. This is a team that made the MLS playoffs. We're going to their house. I hear that we're bringing some strong numbers down to Houston. If I can make it,
Houston made the semifinals of
I would be there in a heartbeat.
They are a stacked team.
They're a fantastic team. They're going to have great support. It's going to be a fun game that first week. But, there's a lot of great games in the MLS this first week. I think that what we need to do is take it one game at a time. We need to focus on getting healthy, getting fit, getting ready for that game one against Houston. I'm not even going to jump to DC yet because it is our home opener, but I'm not going to jump there. And I think what we need to focus on is,
do you have one or two games of the schedule that you're kind of looking forward to?
Oh, man, always the Orlando games. I think we got Orlando on a Friday night, back in Orlando.
Yeah, always boat you, Orlando.
Man, I'm really looking forward to this first home game against DC. It's just something about DC United.
We got to get that monkey off our shoulder.
The worst team in MLS last year. They beat us three freaking times.
Times. Are you kidding me?
Like, why? Why would it's like, if you have an equivalent, we both watch the Premier League. I'm sure a lot of our listeners watch the Premier League. It's like, how many times can we lose to Watford?
It's not happening.
Like, I know Chelsea just lost to Watford this week 4-1. That was hilarious. But what I'm getting at is this is a bottom feeder club.
They have no money to spend on any. They don't spend money like we do. They bring in.
It's not
low
about
talent.
the money. They're just a terrible organization. They beat us 3 times last year.
Well, one thing I've got to add to it this year, they do not have Bill Hamid, the goalkeeper who easily could have been top 5 MLS goalkeeper.
If it wasn't for Brad Guzan, I would say he was number 2 keeper in the league. Honestly, I think he's the best American keeper moving forward for the national team for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and now he's off to the Dutch league, so sayonara, and that's probably benefit to us.
Can you pronounce that correctly? I believe it's the Arrivederci.
Arrivederci?
Arrivederci?
That's how I would say it.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. That's Italian.
Okay, well, I tried, It's like, when have you of course you've seen Inglourious Bastards. When Brad Pitt's doing his Italian accent, arrivederci. Arrivederci. Hey, no, that was my best attempt at the Dutch league. But I honestly, DC is a game I am super stoked about. I'm actually going to be in New Orleans that weekend. So our listeners might say, Blake, what the heck? You're not going to be at the game. I'm flying up morning of Sunday morning. I'm drinking in the New Orleans airport. I'm coming in straight up, northbound on MARTA. I'm doing Atlanta United chants for everyone that probably doesn't want to hear it. all the way to Mercedes-Benz. And honestly, man, if we choke again against DC, it's going to be a dark day for me. Like,
just for you. It'll be a dark day for the entire city.
I really think I'm just going to go home. I think I'm just going to turn off all the lights in my house. I have a little fireplace. I might turn that on. I'm not listening to anything. I'm not talking to people that, I'm not talking to friends. I'm not talking to anyone I know. I'm just going to turn off the lights and just reflect on the fact that we lost to DC for the 4th time. And I'm not even going to go there. I'm sorry. I got too dark.
It's not going to happen. It can't happen
Let's
again.
keep going.
Move it on.
It's too dark.
Let's bring up a story that you've been wanting to talk about and loving to talk about your favorite Kyle Loren, or as we might want to say, Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. Man,
the evil dark side.
Did you like the last movie?
I loved the last movie.
I loved the last movie.
It was great. Oh, good. We're on the same side of that.
That's fantastic, man. I think Kylo Ren, he takes the cake. But okay, so Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, the reason we're bringing him up is because he's an excellent example of how crazy MLS rules really are.
So if you're not familiar with the story, Kyle Ren got sold from Orlando City, but they put up a hard fight. Then they said, no, we're not going to sell you. We want you on our team. And Kyle Ren, after they denied his request to leave, he told the he went ahead and already went the transfer.
You're already confusing me.
And he went off to, what was the team he went? Besiktas.
He went to Besiktas in Turkey. So an Orlando City player, which we love to hate on Orlando, but
boo Orlando.
We just have to let everyone know this could happen to any team in the MLS because of how it's structured. Is that he went to Turkey and then no one knew who owned him. If that makes sense, these players are
did Orlando own them?
Did the MLS own him? So, basically what has happened is he's training in Turkey with a different club than apparently who owns him. He signed a contract with Besiktas, the Turkish club, and then he was allegedly still under contract with the MLS, but not with Orlando. So I don't even know how to explain this. We're going to go into further detail of how absurd the MLS rules are here in a few minutes. Just get used to it, Atlanta United fans. The MLS has got a lot of room to grow when it comes to player transfers, how we handle who owns players. It's going to be a bumpy road for a few months, but honestly, this situation is absolutely hilarious to me. I mean, essentially, he's saying, I quit Orlando. I'm joining this Turkish club. And Orlando.
Of course he quit Orlando. Who wouldn't want to quit Orlando if you're stuck in Orlando?
Well, I mean, not Mickey Mouse. Because of Disney World.
Oh. One moment of silence for someone we lost a couple weeks ago, but I had to throw it out on our show. Carlos Carmona.
Oh, man.
A quick shout out to raise a glass.
Yeah, this is
to
a
Carmona.
sad moment.
He's going to be really dearly missed in my heart. And I've got to give one last hurrah to Carmona!
He was a beautiful man. He's a beautiful player. He'll be missed.
Thank you.
Do you want to?
I wish him the best in his career, and I hope that he raises a great family, and that one day his son, Carlitos Carmona Jr., comes to Atlanta United Academy and becomes the next great star right after Chris Gosselin.
Let's talk about Carmona for a second, though. Let's talk about why he left. Let's talk about our front office and the integrity and, honestly, just the true human connection they showed through this. Carmona's wife was having pregnancy complications. Initially, Bocanegra and Martino said, hey, we're going to hold on to Carmona. He's the anchor of our defense. Of course we'd hold on to this guy. But you know what? Situations happen in life. Everyone goes through different circumstances. His wife was encountering, pregnancy complications. She says, I'd rather have the baby back in Chile. Our front office gives them the green light. They say, go back to Chile. Yeah. Go back, have your baby in your home country. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful touch. I'm going to touch on it over and over again.
And they were going back and forth, and it was clear our front office there said he was under contract.
We wanted Carmona.
Times.
We wanted him.
And he was going to be the solidification in our central defensive midfield. He was the centerpiece that Tata Martino wants. And they did not want to let him go. But then they realized, especially after complications with the wife's pregnancy, that they had to let him go just for humanity.
Yeah, well, I think what we really need to hit on is not even humanity. It's the fact that, this is a guy and this is a situation that we're going to encounter with our club, no matter whether it's, pregnancy complications with a player's wife or a guy has higher aspirations to go to Europe. Our best players, year in, year out, are going to seek bigger and better opportunities. I'm not saying that this club in Chile was a bigger and better opportunity. I'm just saying it shows what our front office is about. We're going to develop talent. We're going to bring in talent. But at the end of the day, if talent wants to seek something else, we're not going to block them. And I think that's going to help us bring in better and better players. I really do. And I'm super excited. I'm super stoked for what our front office said by this move. And honestly, I wish Carmona all the best. Who wouldn't want to raise a child in their home country where the language is familiar?
That's right.
And
he's got family there.
He was a crucial player for us. We're going to miss him. I think we got to move on. I think we got to turn a page and say, thank you, Carlos. You were the man.
And now we got to look for his replacement. But it's not dire, but the money we got from Carmona, it opens up salary space. And now with the most recent move, we just sold Yamil Assad to DC United, as you touched on just earlier. We sold Yamil Assad for, was it $500,000 in GAM?
Yeah, well, let me just touch on that really quickly. We never owned Yamil Assad, and this is where the MLS rules come in a little bit more. He was a loan player.
We owned the rights to Yamil Assad.
That we had the rights to, and we made $500K in allocation money on Asad. And
what was great about that is we had Yamil Assad on loan last year, and it was almost the same contract that DC United's got for him.
We just paid his contract. I mean, that's
$300,000 on loan, and then a $700,000 buy clause at the end of the season if we wanted to buy him, and we made $200,000 net worth from a $300,000 loan to $500,000 in money. It was a great buy, and we can take that money plus the Carmona money and look for a replacement in that defensive midfield if we want to look outside of what our depth chart is right now.
Yeah, and Yamil, he's got a special place in every Atlanta United fan's heart. That first goal, it was a special moment.
First goal of the season.
First goal of the club's history.
It was amazing.
And can you believe that our first home game in the second year, Yamil is going to be lined up on the opposition side, man? It's going to be rough.
I'm thinking about that.
It's going to be rough.
You got Yamil on the other side.
I'm going to be torn.
It's hard. Yamil Assad came to us, and he produced very, very well. He had 7 goals, 13 assists. He was
fantastic.
He was top 4 in goals. He was the second place on the team in assists, right behind yours truly, Miggy Smiles, who eclipsed him at the very end of the season. A lot of people thought Yamil led the league or led our team, but Miggy snuck a couple in there at the end of the year.
Yeah,
but
he always does.
Production of 7 and 13. Any MLS team would take that production from any of their players.
Fantastic production. Fantastic production.
Now the question is, going to DC, and do you think he's going to be able to replicate that 7 and 13? I think they're going to be more likely to see him get maybe 5 goals and 5 assists. And I only say that based on I don't see too much attacking power out of DC United. And an assist always requires someone to actually put the ball in the back of the net.
Well, I mean, if they have a place to play.
Also, if they have a place to play.
I think that's a big point, is like right now, as of today, DC United does not have a home to play their home games, which I think is hilarious. But, I mean, it just sums up.
They've put in a bid at about 6 different stadiums. They put in a bid to play, and so far they've all gotten rejected. They can't play at the stadium that they left last year because they got kicked out.
And their new stadium's still being built, so they're the definition of a rock and a hard place right now.
Maybe they'll come to Atlanta and play at Bobby Dodd for all their games.
We'll see. But anyways, what I want to get at is we made some good money for a lone player on our first year, Asad. We wish you the best at DC, except when you're playing us. let's dive into our hottest youth player ever. And he doesn't feel like a youth player because he's the MLS world record signing. Barco, man.
The boat.
Ezequiel Barco. That was more of an air horn than a boat noise, but I tried. You know, what I want to say about Barco is that I don't want to put too much pressure on this kid right off the bat.
First off, this kid's 5'4". He's a tiny guy. Don't be expecting to see a Kenwin Jones out there. He's a tiny little guy. But he has all the hype in the world. He is played side by side with Messi. He is the guy.
I saw that picture of him and Messi, and I was like, wait, is that a fan? No, wait. Okay, they're both playing for Argentina. It took me a second. I was like, they're both playing for Argentina. Here's the boat. The boat. Pretty much the best player of all time.
The boat and the goat?
The boat and the goat hanging out. The boat and the goat hanging out. I'm like, wait, the boat plays for Atlanta United? You know, a club in its second year of existence? It just took me a little time to comprehend it. But I guess what I'm getting at is that this is the biggest signing in MLS history. And
$15 million to bring him on over. It just crushed all the records of signings. Michael Bradley, I forgot he was 9 million.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The boat. We do not need to put too much pressure on this kid. I'm going to stick with that because I really believe.
Again, he's an 18-year-old.
The signing fee is this guy's only 18. He's got a lot of room to develop.
Coming over from Independiente in Argentina, one of the best teams in Argentine league, and this kid was trusted upon to be the leader of that team. He brought them a Copa Sudamericana.
Yeah, he won the Copa, man.
And he put an assist in the first game. It was a 2-leg tournament. Second game, he put the tying penalty kick in. They decided to trust an 18-year-old to take their penalty kick in the final of the second biggest cup.
It just says who this kid is. It just really he's got a lot of grit to him. There's something that's blue collar about him, and I haven't seen a lot of his highlights. I haven't seen a lot of his.
I've watched a couple of his games, and I will say he's great on the ball. He can dribble out of anywhere. He's very, very quick. Acceleration from one spot to the next is great. I do see a lot of times, though, sometimes his first touch goes awry. I've seen a lot of times where it hits him and it goes out of bounds, or he takes a heavy first touch. But that's only seldom throughout the course of a game because he makes up for it with a wonderful first touch and a wonderful dribble around the player. And I think linking up him with Miguel Almiron and Darlington Nagbe and being able to put some services into the box for Josef Martinez to finish is going to be so lethal.
Well, you know, I think you're hitting on a lot of great points. I think that Barco is going to change the dynamic of our team. I think he's going to take Assad's spot right off the bat. I think that, you know, what we talked about with Carlton earlier, he's going to be able to slot into that left-hand side when Barco, you know, might not be feeling up to it or when we need a sub. But I think what is overshadowing is honestly the biggest transfer of the offseason within the MLS. You're talking about arguably the MLS's best player in the past 5 years. We're talking about Darlington Nagbe. Coming into our team and how he
Team
fits
USA.
in. And he's coming into this club. We're a young club, but we really, really needed a player like Nagbe. And what do you think, Joe? I mean,
I want to raise a glass to Darlington Nagbe.
Man, if I had any beer left, I would raise that glass with you.
I'm going to take a sip of beer from my Darlington Nagbe.
But while Joe drinks, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Nagbe's attributes and what he brings to the team. It's exactly what we need in a central midfield player. He's going to bring ball retention. He had one of the highest ball retention rates of anyone in the MLS last year. He's fantastic at getting past that first defender. You know, Nagbe, he is not necessarily the goal scorer, but he is a chance creator. He's going to bring a lot of opportunities to the team. And we're talking about Nagbe playing. He's been playing behind a Portland offense that honestly was a little bit subpar. He's going to be playing.
In Portland, they had him playing on the left side, and I actually think we're bringing him in, and he is a perfect instant replacement for Carmona.
I think he's a central midfielder.
He's going to be coming central mid. He's going to be a holding mid, box to box. And they're not going to be asking Nagbe to provide goals. They're going to be asking him to provide possession. He is the type of guy that will hold on to the ball. He will dribble around defenders amazingly, and he will link up with other players and be able to push the ball from box to box and link up with Mickey. He would be able to link up with our wingers as well, and he's not going to be asked to shoot. He's going to be asked to provide that service and create chances.
You know, I think what Nagbe separates himself with is his ball retention rate. I hit on it earlier. I'll hit on it again. I think his recycling of possession is going to be so key. He's going to unlock defenses. He's really going to be able to distribute to players like Martinez, Almiron, Barco, and he's going to have Vijaba. He's going to have players that he doesn't have to feel the pressure that he felt in Portland. He's going to get the ball. He's going to pass the ball, and that's what we need him to do. But he's going to be the best in the freaking league at distributing. And
he's already been the best in the league, and now we've got him in his prime.
I'm so excited to watch this guy play.
I believe he's 26, 27 years old coming to us.
Like I said, I got his jersey ordered. I'm pumped, man. I got a Nagbe home jersey, and I'm gonna be wearing it every game.
I want to quickly talk about, since we're talking about transfers coming in, that guys we picked up. One hidden gem I think we're going to find out throughout the season, someone that I'm really excited to see, is Franco Escobar.
Oh, man.
Franco Escobar.
This guy's got a Joker and a Batman tattoo.
Oh, on his sleeve.
He's got a sleeve, man. I love it.
The Joker and
I
the
love
Batman.
it. You know, it's like a direct contradiction. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put Vader and Skywalker on the same tattoo.
And this
love
kid's
it.
coming over from the
He's
Argentine
a wild
League.
card. He's a wild card.
He was on Newell's Old Boys, a team that Tatar used to coach, and he knows very well. So he's really linked with that scouting report. Speaking of that, earlier this week we just brought in 4 players for our Atlanta United 2, and 2 of them came from Newell's Old Boys.
Yeah, no, I mean,
this
we're
is
building
our
a great youth program.
prime prospect. He's going to come in and slot right into the right back role, and we did not have a true right back last year.
We didn't have a right back at all. Let's be honest. We
didn't
have a right back.
We had our Englishman who started the season there, coming over from Seattle, and
Mears.
Yeah, Mears, Tyrone Mears.
Yeah,
he did not play well. He showed his age.
I mean, Mears was 30 plus. He played like absolute dog crap. I'm gonna be honest. Like I thought that Mears was a horrible player for us.
And then we were able to bring.
And that's no slide.
We had a little stopgap that we brought in over there with the other Englishman coming.
Oh
from
yeah, we brought
Tottenham.
another Englishman. You know, Antoine Walks. I thought he played well. I thought that he was defensively solid.
Right.
Every time that we would get the ball in the attacking third and Walks would have to put in a cross, you could hear a collective groan from the supporters section. I don't know if you could hear it all the way around the stadium. I just know sitting in the supporters section, I know you could hear that collective groan of, oh. It was like, oh my God, Walks just put in another cross that sailed 5 feet above the goal and went out of bounds. And that was really frustrating for us. We need a ball playing.
So now we
right
got
back.
Franco Escobar coming in, and he is defensively sound. If you watch his highlight films, every time the ball's in the air towards him, he wins that header. Of course, they're highlight films. They show the winning, but he is a force. He's tall. Something that we're missing is height. And he is a guy that will win a header in the air. And he's good with the ball at his feet, and he's able to move the ball at the field, and he can also put in a good cross. He's an all-around right back, and Tata Martino has shown that he is a good scout. Our front office has shown they know what they're looking for, but he went out and found exactly what he wants in the right back position. And I'm so excited to see him. He might be the hidden gem of the offseason.
I'm right there with you. I got an Escobar jersey that I'm about to order. But what I'm saying is this guy is going to come in. He's got that Argentinian connection. We got a lot of Argentinian flair running through our team. He's going to come in, locking up that organization. Him and Gonzalez Perez are going to hit it off right off the bat. We got Parkhurst, we got Garza. It's going to be a really solid back four, in my opinion. If you combine those 4 guys. And
our weakest position last year, if I were to ask you what was it?
It had to be right back.
It was right back, and now we got a guy seemingly to fill that position. Our defense
that's
was
better
surprising.
than maybe anyone we got on our team in terms of position strength. This guy's exciting.
Defensively, we kind of flew under the radar as one of the best defensive teams in the MLS. And now we just solidified that, and now we got a full year of Brad Guzan. The wall in the back. No one's going to penetrate the wall.
Not to get off subject. I told you I met Brad the other night.
You met Brad Guzan the other night. Where were you at when you met?
I met Brad.
When you met the wall.
Well, I'm not going to disclose the location. It was a drinking establishment, but I ran into Brad.
Was Brad drinking a beer?
He was. What do you think?
Did you cheers?
What
him?
beer do you think Brad was drinking? Just throw it out there.
I wanted to say Guinness.
Brad was drinking a Stella Artois.
Oh, he's going to go classy 40-year-old man
It was
beer.
very classy, but it fit. Like, for some reason, when I saw Brad drinking the beer, I was like, it helped solidify, because I looked over to my right, and I was like, oh my God, that's Brad Guzan.
That is a perfect beer for
But then I was
Brad
like,
Guzan.
He's drinking a Stella? That's Brad. So I went over, I talked to him for a second. I didn't get any super fanboy selfies or anything with him, but I said, Brad, we're gonna be right behind you all season.
You didn't ask him for an interview?
Didn't ask him for an interview. That was a big mistake. I should have asked him for an interview. I think though that he knows me and we'll be able to get him on the show later on in the year. I'm not gonna make any guarantees.
Did you tell him about our flag?
I did. I said, Brad, we had the flag of you. In your national team jersey, diving. We were at every home game, supporter section. He's like, I know the flag. He knew it right off the
Brad
bat.
Guzan flag in the back of the supporters section.
Honestly, you like to act like you're really cool, you're a professional athlete, but at the end of the day, you turn around and you see a flag with you on it. Yeah, you're gonna notice it.
That's pretty cool.
Let's be honest. So yeah, no, that was a really cool moment. We had the flag with Guzan on it last year, and I think that I think he's going to have a great year. I think as a goalkeeper prime, he's hitting it. It's a lot past, a midfielder or a striker prime. And I think what was one of the cool things I saw with Brad is that he's a humble guy, and I think he's really determined to help bring that cup to Atlanta this year. So I'm excited to see Brad play. Had a few more words with Brad. I don't know if we're going to get him on the show this year, but hopefully we can.
Now we talked about
I told him he's a wall. And
he is a wall.
And he really is a wall.
He's big and he's tall.
Yeah, and
he's a mofo wall.
He's a wall, man. And we're gonna rely on Guzan and his saves this year, I think, because of just the style of play that we kind of throw out there is that we're gonna bring it forward and we're gonna get exposed at the back every now and then. We're gonna need a strong goalkeeper to make some big saves.
Yeah, and that's exposed at the back makes me worry about the losing Carmona. And wonder what our starting 11 is going to be looking like. Blake, what is your choice start 11?
Man, okay, so I think something that we haven't hit on yet in terms of my starting 11 is the fact of I'm a big believer in youth. And I really, really think that the most underrated player for Atlanta United last year was our very own Gressel Mania. I think Julian
Rookie
Gressel,
of the Year.
MLS Rookie of the Year. He might have gotten that award, but I think he's still flying under the radar when it comes to stud MLS players. So
he kept having to prove himself as to be a starter, and every time we put him in the game, he just produced another goal here, another assist there. He was
but defensively sound as well. Defensively sound, and I think that's what I'm going to hit on right now is that we lose an anchor in Carmona. Who replaces him? I think you said Larinowitz. I think some people have said, okay, well, Nagbe slots in there. I see Nagbe more as like an 8 type player. I see Nagbe more as that link between, your defensive midfielder and your attacking midfielder, which we all know is Miguel Almiron. Right. So I think that Nagbe is more of an 8. I think that 6. I think that anchor this year really could be Gressel. Now Larinowitz will probably start in that position.
You're going to go ahead and say that Gressel is the 6?
I'm going to go ahead and say that Gressel Mania could develop into a very solid defensive central midfielder.
So I see Josef Martinez as the 9. You got Tito Villalba and Ezequiel Barco on the right and left wing. Miggy as the 10.
Yeah.
And the 8
and I'm
Nagbe.
Playing a little bit of a diamond with Nagbe and Gressel in the diamond. I think a diamond of Nagbe, Gressel, and with Almiron heading the tip of that diamond. If you can picture that triangle in your minds, our listeners, I think that that is a incredibly attacking forward formation that would produce a lot of goals. If you got the Barco, the boat on the right, you can swap them to the left. Villalba and Barco can swap all day. You got Martinez, obviously, when he's fit, he's the best striker in the league. Not a better striker in the league. Martinez, can he stay healthy all year? We'll see. Same with Garza as our left back.
Right.
But man, this lineup excites me.
I've got a very similar lineup to you, but I want to change it up and say I cannot put Gressel as a number 6.
That's fair.
Gressel is a very, very good attacking player, and he's a guy that will be able to push forward and create goals, and he's a great right midfielder sub for Tito Villalba. But we need, especially with losing Carmona, we need a true defensive midfielder. Jeff Larinowitz provided so much defensive coverage last year. He was a killer at stealing the ball. He would cut off passes. He would be pretty much a third center back. And with so much attacking midfielders, and I like Nagbe as the 8 going box to box, but I still don't know how much defensive help Nagbe can get. And that's why I switch Gressel with Larinowitz and go with your traditional what we had last year, just sub in Nagbe and Barco for Carmona and Asad, and kind of have Larinowitz being that centerpiece as the defensive midfielders,
dropping in between the center backs, like really looking to anchor that defense. I agree,
especially
with you.
Because Greg Garza is going to be bombing up and down that left side.
Well, and I think Escobar will too.
And then Escobar is going to be doing the same thing on the left. We're going to need somebody to hold back and cut off the play in the middle. I think Nagbe is going to play a lot like Carmona did, just less sliding and actually winning the ball standing up. And then I see Ezequiel Barco playing the left side, but having the freedom, a lot like Almiron, to kind of go across the field any which way you want to go, especially with Garza overlapping. And one thing I'm really afraid of, the way that Yamil Assad and Greg Garza just automatically clicked. They were together. You saw him making overlapping runs and playing pass to pass. Is Greg Garza going to have that same chemistry with Ezequiel Barco?
That's a good question. I think what we have in our favor there is the fact that, Villalba and honestly the boat can swap sides. Barco can play on the right. If they're having trouble with chemistry,
right,
there's going to be a lot of wing swapping going on. I think we'll see Barco coming in from the right. I think we'll see Villalba coming in from the left.
You mentioned Villalba on the left. And that's one thing I've really been wanting to see ever since. You remember the goal of the year?
Fantastic.
The goal
and he came
of the year.
He came in from the left.
It was coming in from the right side. They threw in the ball on the right side. He took a touch, blasted it from over there. Give him more shots from that right side. I would love to see Tito Villalba playing from the right.
Well, I think that he's a player that unfortunately did not get the spotlight he deserved last year. I'm going to be honest. I thought Tito played a fantastic year. He was overshadowed by Almiron. He was overshadowed
by Josef
Martinez. I think that
Tito Villalba had
was a
year.
Fantastic player for us last year, and I'm really excited to watch him this year. But we got to keep trucking along, and we're excited about
13 goals last year, 11 assists. That's something amazing.
That's fantastic.
He played the most games out of anybody in our whole team.
He was fit.
He
the
played
entire year.
34 games out of the 35 games we played. The toughest guy on our team is Josef Martinez's hair.
Oh, man.
Josef has great hair.
He's got great hair. Let's talk about Josef's hair for a second. And this is going to be a segment that I bring in to our listeners each and every week. We're going to highlight the one, the only, Josef Martinez hairstyle. And I don't want to over amplify the importance of Josef's hair selection. I really don't. I don't want to act like I'm the only one that thinks that Josef's hair actually results in more or less goals. But I have some raw data that I want to share with our listeners today. And I know they're hanging on. They're like, I just don't know. I got to get into work. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I'm like, well, hold on 1 minute. Let me tell you about the most important thing you're here all day. And that's what is the most effective
Josef Martinez hairstyle.
Josef Martinez hairstyle when we need a goal. So I broke it down. I'm going to pull up. I stayed up till almost 2 in the morning last night. And this is not a self, oh, way to go, Blake. You stayed up researching Josef Martinez hairstyles. I'm actually kind of embarrassed about this.
Well, we know Josef changed his hair multiple times throughout the season, and it was kind of a big deal.
A lot. So I'm just going to break it down. We'll get into more detail later. Let's just go ahead and say between March 5th, 2017, which was the first game that we ever hosted here in Atlanta, where we lost 2-1, all the way to October the 22nd, which was our final home game against Toronto, which we tied 2-2. Josef Martinez, he had a lot of goals. He was also out injured for a long period in that time. But
he still stayed in that golden boot race.
We can break it down. I broke it down by every game he scored a goal, what hairstyle he had. And I looked up a picture.
So what was the number one hairstyle that contributed to goals?
Well, let's just take you through a story. I mean, let's face it. If we want Josef to come out and score goals this year, we're gonna need him blonde. Okay,
blonde.
We're gonna need a blonde Josef. So he started out first game. I think you guys remember our loss. It was a blonde, almost a slick back fade. He was trying to go for this curly fade. It didn't quite work out for him.
It almost was a honey badger.
It was very honey badger like. By the time we played Minnesota in the snow for our first win, we won 6-1. He scored a hat trick. He was full curly fade. I'm talking locks.
Full curly fade. Yeah.
He had.
I remember the snow just glistening
the
off
dark
of that
hair on the
hair.
sides. He had that blonde hair curled up. There's snow in the hair. Hat trick. Next game, same blonde curly fade. 2 goals. Okay.
That was the blonde curly fade was a pretty high producing haircut.
Guess what, Joe? He changes his hairstyle.
Why would you change the hair?
5 goals in 2 games. He changed his hairstyle. Guess what the next time we see Martinez is? 3 months later, he gets injured. He doesn't play for 3 months.
What was his hairstyle? Was that the Cisco?
He changed his hairstyle to a periwinkle gray. I don't know what I would describe it as. It's somewhere between a blue gray. Periwinkle gray was the best I could do. A periwinkle. We're gonna call this one the periwinkle spike comb over fade.
A little spike fade.
He started out with a periwinkle poof. He transitioned into a periwinkle. Honestly, I would call it a periwinkle comb over, and now.
How many goals did he get with that one?
But man, the poof fade right there, as you can see, Tata coaching him up. It was a very unsuccessful hairstyle. Between March and honestly August, he only produced for us 3 goals with the periwinkle.
So we do not want Josef with that periwinkle.
And if you take his totals on periwinkle for the entire year, he only had 5 goals all year, which compared to blonde goals, he had 15 blonde goals.
Oh yeah, that's a huge difference.
I think this is important data. By September, Josef had gone to the blonde buzz fade, which I don't know.
Blonde buzz fade.
Just yeah.
Brent
and Ben,
our
producers, are doing a fantastic job of getting this up.
He went with the Cisco haircut, which is the straight buzz, and then I guess he started growing it out and fading it.
So this was our first game in Mercedes-Benz, and he goes on a tear. We win against Dallas 3-0. With the blonde buzz, he scores a total of 8 straight goals within 2 weeks with the blonde buzz. All right, so I don't know why he would change. I think he just grew it out a little bit more. He had a blonde fade towards the end of the year, scored 2 more goals. Total blonde goals 15 for the year. I guess what I'm getting at is I'm very excited. Early training pictures.
I guess we got to raise a glass to that blonde buzz fade and hope he starts the season with it.
Man, our early pictures these days, it appears, and I don't know if Ben can throw the graphic up, but it appears that he is going with the blonde curly fade. He's kind of growing
it looks like it looks kind of like a flat top.
And
I see
here he is pictured with Almiron and Barco. I think that we're gonna see a lot of success out of this haircut.
I think he's getting a little bit of a Tito Villalba inspiration and going with a high flat top look, and it looks. I mean, he's got a little waviness to him. That's his natural hairstyle. But he's kind of growing out and gonna go a little NBA look and get a flat top going.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he's getting a little American in him.
He's got a good swag to him. You know, he's got that neck cock to him. He's got a lot of swag. Anyways, this will be something we'll touch on every week to our listeners, to people that are interested in Josef's haircuts per goal ratio. I think that this is big nose. It's good to see some. It's good to see some blonde out there. Excited about the first game. Excited about the season kicking off, Joe. It's been a lot of fun, man.
It's been great.
I'm excited.
This might put a little capper to our first episode of ATLiens United. Feel free to hit us up on our webpage. We got ATLiensUnited.com. We got our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Tweet us.
Tweet us at ATLiens United, and you can hit us up on email. We love fan mail at ATLiensUnited@gmail.com.
Send us pics.
Thank you to our sponsors,
those kind of pics.
Phantomaniacs.com. Go to their website. Phantomaniacs is an up and running website. They can get you any fan gear you want.
They're gonna have
from
gear.
Sports, from comics, anything you name it. They can make it, and we love them. So Phantomaniacs.com.
Phantomaniacs.
Thank you for listening to Blake Martian and ATL Joe.
ATL Joe, staying anonymous over there. And yeah, if you guys wanna hit up Joe, his full name's Joe Maskery, and you can email him. You know, or look him up on Facebook.
Thanks for listening to ATLiens United.
We'll see you guys next week.